get down to it. Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen, was basically wedded to her queendom. Her ascension to the throne happens upon Mary I, Bloody Mary's death. Was greeted with public jubilation. This happens in 1558. Elizabeth was rigorously educated as a child. The new queen is highly intelligent and very strong-willed. Under her rule, England emerges as a world power. Elizabeth was a very, very strong and able ruler who carefully managed her own policies and surrounded herself with a corps of experienced advisors. Elizabeth I commanded with confidence and managed to get the passionate loyalty of the majority of her people. Now, in court, she displays a very masculine personality, as masterful as her father, Henry VIII. She's not easily manipulated, and Elizabeth is determined to assert her strong and unconstrained will. Now, outside of the court, she uses her feminine charms and shows herself as a benign and smiling queen that is responsive to her subjects. Elizabeth reverts to her father's tradition of double-headed or Siamese religious orthodoxy. Churches that look Catholic but sound Protestant. The Catholics are concerned with the appeal of the eye. The Protestants are more concerned with the appeal to the ear. So Elizabeth manages a clever compromise that does not quite work out. Most of the leading figures in Elizabeth Anglican Church of England spends her reign. Basically, they spent her reign itching to get rid of the half of the church that they felt did not belong. There's lots of tension, religious tension, that persisted during her reign. The Virgin Queen requires Anglican priests to wear vestments which made them look Catholic, and the Queen required them to continue many traditional ceremonies. For example, making the sign of the cross during baptism, which many Protestants viewed as superstitious. The Queen also required that all parishioners kneel during the communion ritual. Elizabeth wants, milder sorts of Catholics to feel comfortable and to come to the Anglican Church of England as required by the law established by her father. Her techniques are basically a show of unity, kept up in a deeply divided England, basically as each side struggles to prove that it was the other side which was unorthodox, as Puritans and Papists denounce each other. Now, the Pope puts a fly in Elizabeth's ointment by excommunicating the Queen in 1570 and makes it painfully clear that Catholics must not attend any Anglican Church of England masses. The Pope, basically denounces the English Church, excommunicates Elizabeth, and writes a decree, a papal bull, that Catholics should not attend Anglican services. Now, the excommunication by the Pope of Elizabeth increases any hope, decreases any hope, and increases anti-Catholic paranoia in England. And the fear of an international popist conspiracy against Elizabeth and her Protestant subjects, enters hysteria mode. Catholics are now considered to be part of a Spanish/Roman, as in papal, fifth column. Catholics are now fair game. And an apocalyptic vision of theological and ideological warfare hits England. To make matters worse, there is a Catholic claimant to the English throne, Mary Stuart, Mary Queen of Scots. Now, the beautiful red-haired queen rises to the throne of Scotland 6 days after her birth, when her father James V of Scotland dies. Mary is raised at the court of the French king, and later marries Francis II, the King of France, who dies a year later. Mary's Catholic upbringing leads to distrust in Scotland, and Mary tries to put out the fire of Scottish mistrust by marrying her ambitious cousin, Lord Darnley. Now, Darnley is a popish, homosexual, very effeminate man, and the marriage is a very unhappy one. He quickly becomes a victim of intrigues by the Scottish nobles. Darnley conspires with the Scottish nobles to murder Queen Mary, but is in turn then murdered by James Hepburn. Hepburn is the Queen's lover. He then marries Queen Mary, and the birth of their son, James I of England, James VI in Scotland, strengthens Mary's claims to the English throne, since Elizabeth has no husband and no heir. Now, Queen Mary is preoccupied with the affairs of France, and religious unrest breaks out in Scotland. It also breaks out in France, which gives the Virgin Queen Elizabeth the opportunity for the English to invade Scotland. They invade and drive out the French, and a new Protestant regime rules in Scotland. Queen Mary's romantic indiscretions will soon lose her the Scottish throne and drive her into exile and later captivity in England. Rebellious nobles desert her army. Her husband, James Hepburn, is first imprisoned, then executed. Hepburn is the Earl of Bothwell. After her husband's death, Mary is forced to abdicate in favor of her infant son, James. After several failed attempts to win back her throne, Queen Mary seeks refuge in England with her cousin, Queen Elizabeth. Scotland is now a Protestant kingdom, and Mary's son, James, will be raised a Protestant, and as an adult will reject Catholicism. Not only reject it, but become very anti-Catholic. Scotland is now far more cooperative with England. The new theological and ideological affinities greatly improve Anglo-Scottish relations. Religious tension shapes Mary's relationship to Elizabeth. Her return from Scotland to England has threatened to upset the new Anglo-Scottish alliance. Elizabeth, to be fair, had made serious attempts to gain Mary's friendship and trust while maintaining an Anglophile government. Mary's price for this friendship was the recognition of her place as heir apparent to Elizabeth, while retaining the freedom to remarry when and whoever she chooses. Mary's sudden marriage to the very gay Lord Darnley and his murder and quick remarriage to Hampden, plus her forced abdication and her unsuccessful attempts to regain her throne in Scotland by force, gives Queen Elizabeth no alternative but to retain Mary as a semi-prisoner. Elizabeth at first refuses the demands of her advisors that she execute Mary, Queen of Scots, but several uprisings by English Catholics in Mary's favor convinced Queen Elizabeth to have Mary tried and convicted, then executed. Mary of Scotland is then beheaded. She's quickly beheaded, eliminating the threat to Elizabeth. Now, the excommunication by the Pope, the plots of assassination by pro-Catholic, pro-Mary sympathizers heightened the religious tensions in England, and Queen Elizabeth has little choice but to abandon Mary, Queen of Scots. Queen Elizabeth will now enter a new phase in her rule, a type of theocratic imperialism, and the divine right of monarchy now intensifies. The Virgin Queen is now set on reversing everything that her predecessor, Mary Tudor, stood for. Mary I of England, also known as Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary tries to turn England back to a Catholic nation. Well, Elizabeth will reverse everything that Mary Tudor had done. Elizabeth will now continue Henry VIII, her father's Protestant reforms in a big way, ruthlessly crushing any religious opposition, both highborn and lowborn, the rich and the poor, any and all that refused to acknowledge the Queen's power, her power above the Pope and Rome, will now face danger, torture, and death. And a slew of new anti-Catholic laws hit England. Among them, among the victims of this religious persecution is Edmund Campion, an eminent scholar and Jesuit priest. Campion is born in London in 1540 and goes to St. John's College at Oxford. At 15 years of age, he's already begun a brilliant career and soon attracts the attention of Queen Elizabeth and the patronage of the powerful Earl of Leicester. Edmund Campion, is ordained a deacon in the Church of England, and then goes to Ireland, where he becomes a secret Catholic. 2 years later, he goes to Rome, and then joins the Jesuits, the Society of Jesus, and is ordained as a priest in Prague around 1578. He then returns to England, disguised as a merchant, and stays on the move in order to avoid capture. He attacks the status quo through his writings, which wins him considerable fame. Now, landing with Campion in Dover, also in disguise, is Alexander Bryant, a fellow Jesuit priest and, soon-to-be fellow fugitive. He's from the Queen's religious, he's also involved in the Queen's court, but he becomes a Catholic as well. Campion's secret printing press and eloquent preaching gives new hope and new heart to the English Catholics, but he's eventually arrested. Alexander Bryant, along with a fellow Jesuit priest who's also in hiding at the house next door, are also soon arrested for their Catholic religious beliefs. Bryant is then tortured by starvation, and needles are placed under his fingernails. He is then stretched on the rack. He still refuses to give the names or whereabouts of any fellow Catholic dissenters to the authorities. Bryant's torturers actually begin to admire his tenacity and spiritual resolve. Campion is then tried with another Catholic priest, Ralph Sherwin. The now toothless and crippled by his torturers, Campion tells the court, showing absolutely no fear, that in condemning us, you simply condemn yourselves, and you condemn all that was once great in England. Campion, Sherwin, and Bryant are then hanged, drawn, and quartered together, a fellowship of Catholicism and a fellowship of martyrdom and death. Now, hundreds were soon to follow Campion, Sherwin, and Bryant to torture and execution. Many of these people are known as the 40 Martyrs of England and Wales. 40 Roman Catholics put to death between 1535 and 1680. In fact, there's a total of 199 persons that were beatified by the Roman Catholic Church in stages. First in 1886, then again in 1895, and finally in 1929. They are all canonized by Pope Paul VI in 1970, and their collective feast day is October 20th. Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen's reign, is, justifiably so considered a golden age, distinguished by her skillful diplomacy and the literary genius of men like William Shakespeare and Christopher Marlowe, as well as the exploits of Sir Walter Raleigh and Sir Francis Drake. Well, there was also a dark and bloody side to her rule that is often underplayed or ignored by historians.